For Creamer Media TV, I'm Sashali Solomons. Joining me today is Ncamiso Mine's Managing Director, Mr. Fikile Mashanini, and we will be discussing the work of contractors across all spheres of the mining industry, as well as the demand for various markets across South Africa for outsourced mining services. Welcome and thank you for joining us, Mr. Fikile.
Thank you very much, Sasha.
Mr. Fikile, can you explain the current state of the industry as well as the demand for outsourced mining?
There's quite a demand on outsourced mining. It depends how you explain the word outsource. Are you yourself outsourcing, or are you getting some work from a mine outsourcing it to you? In our case, it's a bit vice versa. However, it still gives the same meaning, which is where we outsource our skill to the mining companies and the industries. How do we do that? We come up with solutions to the mines in areas where it's either they neglect those areas as not being important to them or of utmost important. Then we then approach the mine and show them the problem. Having shown them the problem, then we try and come up with solutions to the problems. How do we do that? Let me explain to you. I'll just give you scenarios of how we have come in handy by sourcing ourselves out to the mine by giving those solutions. We've got scenarios. For instance, there's a scenario that we're busy working on of the problems of the radioactive dumps, where there's quarries that owns right over dumps that are radioactive, but they're struggling to mine those radioactive dumps because they are contaminated. You cannot build roads with that, you cannot build houses with that. But we know within the dump there's this product which is gold inside the dump, and X mine is interested in the dump or in gold. So we approach the mine and say, mine, we've got gold bearing material. So most mines, they do have their certificate from the nuclear regulator to handle radioactive material. We therefore hook up the two with their environmental groups. Then we come up with solutions where we remove the dump, we take it to the mine where we screen out the fines at -20 millimeter, which is gold bearing. Then we in return give the rock to the quarry or whoever that supplies aggregate. So we've come up with double solution. Number one, removal of radioactive material. Number two, the benefits of the gold to the mine. That adds value and wealth to the country. So those are the way in which we look at outsourcing from our side. There could be a number of definition of outsource, but we believe we could provide our skills in that fashion.
Okay, thank you so much. The following question I want to ask you is, have you guys introduced or looked at different technologies or new technologies that you guys would like to introduce in your services?
We, on a daily basis, do our research and development in terms of coming up with sustainable solutions to the problems and add value to wealth. I believe in giving more of examples here. For instance, I'll give you an example of these rock dumps again, where having been crushed and screened, a lot of gold is sterilized. You know, we've got roads of gold, we've got houses built out of gold. We take out the gold, and then we went further to create job by having people and communities around that will pick out rocks that are gold bearing, which we call it the reef, out of the stone. Then in return, the stone can go for building of houses, and the pick up reef, which is the stones that are gold bearing, that creates as much as 200 jobs and more within one community. But we're looking at extending that further, because we realize we only recouping, say, about 10% instead of 60-70% of the gold bearing material. So we're looking at importing and getting the XRF machine, which is a gold sorting plant that will pick up and sort out the gold bearing reef and separate it from the rock. And we have made a stride in terms of investigation of that. We have done some tests through Mintech, which there's a pilot plant that does that, and we see that as something that could improve our productivity by almost 80-90%.
Thank you so much. And then just lastly, Mr. Fikile, I wanted to know if you are able to point out where the most growth opportunities in the industry is.
We believe the growth is more on the surface than the underground, especially in the gold sector, but not only in the gold sector, in the platinum sector, in the chrome sector. I mean, we've got millions of dams that are lying outside of the which were mined out, with a lot of potential that is sometimes even more viable than going underground in terms of cost effective, efficiency. We look at the old mining style type where material was mined out and the processing was not efficient, and there's a lot of dumps that are lying outside which are just big monsters in the towns and cities. Our aim is to do rehabilitation on those dams and extract further mineral that might have been mined, either chrome, platinum, gold, diamonds. We're looking more into that.
Okay, thank you so much. That was Mr. Fikile Mashinini and his views on the current state of the outsourced mining industry.